Our second presenter today, Claudio Hernandez, also works for Propal in Chile. Claudio is an agronomist and has been assisting growers increase their yields for 15 years. Claudio's first portion of his presentation will be on plant physiology, pruning, and canopy management.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Claudio. I work with Felipe in the technical department of Propal. I'm going to show you the basis for a rejuvenating program in avocado orchards. You have to understand that when we speak about rejuvenation, we are talking about the rejuvenation of your company, not necessarily of the tree, okay? We need to increase yields, we need to make more money, and that is the rejuvenation concept, not only to have younger trees, all right? As introduction, I don't have that much time that I would like, so I'm gonna pass a little fast the slides, so I'm going to talk about the ideas, okay? In my country, it's very common to hear that the orchard has achieved at its expiration date. The trees is no longer bearing fruit, the trees die, and we have to move on to citrus, another crop, or whatever, okay? But in theory, all the plants and the trees as well are eternal if we can keep them healthy with a constant pruning and branch renewal program, okay? That's what I'm going to talk in the next minutes. For example, in animals, in mammals like us, we have the chronological age. That means the inevitable pass of time from the birth through an adult and reproductive stage, old stage, and death, okay? But in trees, this change occurs every season and start all over again year after year, and if we keep our trees healthy for many, many years. And that's what is called the phenology. The phenology of avocado trees under Mediterranean climate, like in California, like in Chile, okay? We have a reproductive growth at the beginning of the spring. This is your month, not my month, your month, okay? I switched them, okay? And you said fruit, the fruit grows, and then start over again in the next year, and the next year, and the next year, okay? You know that we, the humans, we are juvenile. We go to our reproductive stage, and then we grow old, and then we die, okay? We not start over again, like vampires. Okay, the juvenility concept is different in trees or in plants. The juvenility is a fast growth stage where the tree structure is built, okay? As you can see in this draw, the juvenile is dark green, is located in the lower part of the tree, okay? And during this stage, the juvenility, there is no flowering, even though exists an environment condition to do so. That's why you can see in your trees, you're never going to see flower in the main trunk. Is that right? You only see flowers in the weekend shoots, okay? So, a tree overwhelmed the juvenility only with growth. The tree needs to grow to pass the juvenility structure through an adult structure, and finally the reproductive structure, okay? That's all. We only need growth, not time, growth, okay? This guy, Leonardo da Vinci, I think in century 15, he looks that the influence and hierarchy of a woody branch and its reproductive capacity is influenced by the location. He saw that when the tree grows at the upper part of the canopy, the reproductive growth is located. Not down, not as much in the middle, but always in the top. So we can see three structures. The juvenile structure, very high in vigor, no flowering, and very vigorous when we do the pruning over the juvenile structure. When we go up in the vegetative adult structure, it will be like in the middle of your tree. The vigor is medium. You can find some flower if there is enough light. If we do the pruning like this high, the response in vigor is medium as well. And if you go higher, we are now in the reproductive structure where is the light is working. If the vigor, and of course it's logic, is very low because we have flowers. The flowering is very high because we have light. And the pruning response is very low vigor. For example, that's me. The big question is this tree young, adult, or old? Okay. Obviously, it's at least a 20 years old tree, but productively is a very old, very aged tree with a very aged canopy. So we must make a difference between the chronological age, that is the inevitable pass of the time, and the productive age. Okay? The productive age is influenced by the tree health and vigorous root system, and this is important, the canopy renewal program. I can have a very old tree, but with a very young canopy. Okay? For example, this tree in my town obviously is very old, very, very old, more than 30 years old, but also has a very old branches, all twisted, very shaded in the main structure. So it's a very old tree and a very old canopy as well. This is a graph. I love that graph because it explains many things. You can see the light intensity and the photosynthetic activity, okay? Comparing young leaves versus old leaves, okay? And of course, if the new leaves have major photosynthetic activity than old leaves, I'm going to get more production if I keep my canopy constantly renewal, producing always new leaves. I can't work in orchard, or I can obtain greater yields when my orchard is shaded like this, with a very old, long branches, very old leaves, comparing with this one, okay? Of course, these guys are younger than this guy, but you can imagine that this tree is 15 years old, 15, but it's constantly pruned. So these branches are not older than 2 or 3 years old. this is a schematic example of pruning. It's not a recommendation, please, okay? It's an idea, okay? It's an idea. I'm going to explain this step by step, beginning with the step 1. Please imagine that we are very early in the spring where the tree are bearing all the harvest fruit, okay? In the step 2, we are still in the spring, but we only harvest one portion of the canopy. It could be 1/2, 1/3, 2/3, whatever you need to rejuvenate, okay? And I can still have fruit to harvest later in the other part of the canopy because I need to make money, all right? Look that we have the flowering. We're in spring, okay? The next step, I do the pruning. And look, the pruning was made over the juvenile structure because I need a fast response of new shoots. Always the pruning zone or area has to be illuminated to make sure that I'm going to have new shoots. Please note that I still have fruit to be harvested and still have some flowers, and I can see the fruitlets, all right? So as Felipe said, we here have a mix of old fruit and new fruit. You can see here a very overcrowded orchard in my town. When we did the pruning in 2 rows, that one, and we decided to prune both sides to ensure the penetration of the light. If you can see, the cuts were made very low, always over juvenile structure. Here you can see better. The cuts there. Always painting in black, in white, because we need to avoid the sunburn. If we spend money making this pruning, I need to protect my wood, okay? Note also that when we do the pruning, we gain light to inner adult shoot that were shaded, and now we expose it to the light. So these guys start flowering in the next spring, okay? So it's a win-win strategy. Please do not do the pruning in the highest part of the canopy, because remember, this is a reproductive structure. The vigor is low, okay? If we cut, I talk in meters, sorry. If we cut in 2 meters, 3 meters high, the response will be low vigor shoots starting just where the cuts were made. But the old branch remains in the tree. And that is what we don't want. We need to rejuvenate the branch, okay? For example, this tree was pruned there and there. This new shoot will grow, of course, a weakened shoot, but always over a very old structure, okay? All right, let's back to our step by step. We are now in step 4. We are in summer. New shoot begins to burst from the juvenile structure as well the adult structure, okay? I think you all see this, It's a very beautiful new shoot that not always we can observe in other tree fruit, but in avocado, we do. And remember, when we cut a big branch, not only we are looking for these shoots. Remember, when we do this kind of cuts, we are not only looking for this new shoot, we are always looking to put more light in this adult weakened shoot that we already had, but they were shaded. Now we expose to the light, and they flower in the next spring.
Are you painting that by hand?
Sorry?
Are you painting the white by
Yeah,
hand?
by hand, yes. Yes. Some growers prepare some white paint with a backpack application. Yeah, it works good, but also the fruit gets paint, and we don't like that. But yeah, you can do that. In the step 5, we are now in the middle of the summer. Remember, here are the new adult shoot that I don't put in the slide. I want to concentrate in this one, okay? And here is a big thing. When we prune over juvenile structure, a lot of new shoot will burst. But we only need one per stump. If in my tree I left 2 stumps or 3 stumps, I'm going to leave just 1 shoot per stump. Remember that this shoot will be my next branch. So I don't need too many branches in my tree, okay? So remember, just 1 shoot per stump, okay? Also, weakest shoot will burst also, and they must live intact to form a new skirt, okay? You only, this one is born from above, not from below, okay? And all the weakest one, you can just leave it, okay? For example, this is a good picture. You can see. Look, here is 1 stump, 1 shoot. Here is 1 stump, 1 shoot. Back there is another stump, 1 shoot. All the rest, eliminate. It's the shoot thinning, okay? This is the same orchard than the picture before, okay? But in the summer, maybe 4 or 5 months later, look, all the stump, all the pruning area is very, the shoots are vigorous, and we are growing our new mother shoots or mother branches, like this, Maybe in this tree, there is only 1 or 2 new shoots. And this one as well, and that one, okay? We don't need, 20 shoots per tree. We only need 1, 2, 3, no more. Okay, we're still in the middle of the summer, and when we define my new shoot, I do the tipping. The tipping, remove just the tip of the shoot. We are looking for stimulate the lateral growth and the thickening of the main axis. Remember that we are going to have fruit in this new shoot. So we need that this guy to be strong, okay? To support the weight of the fruit. I forgot. Sorry, I go back quickly. Look, we are in the summer, and still I have fruit to be harvested, and the new one is growing. And in this one, no more harvest fruit, only the new one. Okay? Yes, please.
That says midsummer 2017.
Yeah, I know, sorry. So remember, I know. Remember that we are in the south hemisphere, and for us, the spring starts in September and ends in December. And our summer starts in Christmas, you know? So we change the year in the summer. Sorry about that. Okay. This is what we are looking for the tipping to stimulate the lateral shoots. And we are now in the autumn. Forget the year. I think I made a mistake here. Yeah, summer of 2000, it should be 2017. Forget the year. We are in autumn, okay? sorry. Okay, we are now in autumn. We have very large new shoot, and we need to make the girdling, okay? We have two options to make the girdling: directly on the shoot or in the stump. We prefer to do in the stump, okay? Because sometimes the new shoot is too green, is not thick enough, you know? So we ensure and make on the stump. Also, when we girdle the stump, all the new shoot, the vigorous, this one, and the wicked one, will remain under the girdle influence, okay? If we do the girdling just on the main shoot, all the rest of the shoot will be out of the girdle, okay? And then, in the next spring, okay, we get flower in the new shoot, okay, and I have the fruit to be harvested in the next season. This draw, you can see in this picture. This shoot with the flower is this branch, is new with flower, and these branches bearing the fruit with no flower because of the fruit will be this one. Okay? This is one tree. Okay? So, we are now again in the next spring, very early, and I do the same thing, but in the other part of the tree. In the other half, another third, another 2/3, whatever you has to do. Okay? I do it. I did it. I say it right? You understand me? Mm-hmm. All right. Good. What is the main objective of all this thing? Create a balance between productivity, this branch, and a branch renewal program to keep your canopies young and reducing the alternate bearing, because this tree is bearing fruit in this branch and in this branch, and these branches are not producing fruit because they are growing. This is the renewal zone. So in the next spring, this zone will be the productive zone, and I will prune this, or this, or this, and this. Okay? That's the idea. Okay? Please, as I said before, this is not a recommendation, it's an idea. I try to put an idea in your minds, not a recommendation, because every orchard will be a different story. Okay? The other thing that we do when the problems are severe is the stumping. Okay? When we have very, very overcrowded orchard, very, very aged canopies, we are suffering major root asphyxia and or Phytophthora, frost damage, drought. In these cases, I can do a strong pruning, but these problems are so big that even do the pruning is not enough. Okay? So we do the stumping looking for a juvenile and vigorous response to rebuild a new whole canopy in 1 year. For example, this orchard is way overcrowded with very long, dry, dead branches. And even if I cut there or there or there or there, I'm not sure that the response will be as good as I will expect. Okay? So I make sure and do the stumping. Okay? It's a very tough decision sometimes, but believe me, it's the better way when the problems are great, are severe. It not look good, but in this orchard, we only stump one block, okay? And the next block will be stumped in the next season, okay? You don't have to stump your whole orchard. You can stump one block at a time, okay? And always the owner says, oh my God, what have we done? Another reason because we do the stumping is because of the drought. As Felipe said, in the last 6 or 7 years, we are suffering a major drought in Chile, especially in the north. Remember that our north will be your south. We are in the other side of the planet, okay? And many avocado hectares were stumped because they will not be able to be irrigated, okay? When I went to this orchard, I want to just cry. It's true, because the trees looks awful. So we did the stumping in some blocks and concentrate the few water that we had to irrigate the best block. But if you can see, even in this block, the tree looks sad. For example, this orchard is a 60-hectare orchard. It's a big one in Ovalle, in the north part of our avocado area in Chile. Suffered a major problem of drought. This is the same orchard in a picture from the upper part, looking down. And this you can see a Google Earth picture of the same orchard. This picture was taken from, I think, there, looking down, okay? Look the dates. This picture was taken on summer of 2014. The trees looks very good. This is the neighbor. And this guy already show a very bad face, but this orchard looks still good. But in spring of 2015, we do not have enough water, so we decide to stump the 60 hectares. Look the neighborhood as well. Wheat. Impressive, isn't it? But in the summer, in the next summer, 5 or 6 months after we do the stump, the trees come back very good, very strong, very vigorous. Remember, the stump is to prune over the juvenile structure, so the response is very, very fast, very vigorous. Another reason why we do the stumping is when the avocado orchards are over-irrigated for mistakes, and we do the stump to recover to productive potential. And like I said when I was starting the presentation, when we talk about rejuvenation, it's not about always to rejuvenate the branches. It's rejuvenate your capacity to make money, okay? These trees are young in this picture, no more than 12 years old, younger trees, very young. But because of the mistake in the irrigation system, they over-irrigate in a heavy clay soil, the canopy gets very old, very, very old, okay? In a productive concept, not chronological age, okay? So we do the stump to rejuvenate a very young tree, okay? And the other reason that we do the stumping is when the orchards are very, very overcrowded, like this one. If you can see back there is the new orchard of this owner. So this guy expected that the new orchard begin to produce fruit and then do the stumping in the old blocks, okay? It's a good idea. And these guys are now producing fruit normally. How we do the stump? Remember, always cutting over juvenility structure, juvenile structure. No cutting, no more highest than 40 inches and 25, 30 inches long per stump, okay? Eliminate the excess of mother branches, leaving only 4 or 5 per tree, okay? We don't need more. Always paint white. This is an idea to you to take home. I'm not going to read it because you can read it in your home. It's how we do that. But this is important. When we do the stumping very early in the spring, in the next autumn, that means 8 or 9 months later, we have a very big canopy. So we do the girdling between 50 or 70% of the shoots, just to make sure that we will have flower just right in the next spring, okay? For example, these trees were planted in 2003, okay? It will be like 14, 15 years old. And these guys were stumped because they were so overcrowded. And look, this is the look of the plant is, I think, 8 or 9 months after the stumping. It's a very young tree over an old trunk, but very young canopy and a very big. This guy did the shoot thinning. This guy didn't. Look, this tree is overcrowded himself, okay? That is not good because the shade affect the flower induction and we will have a very low bloom in the next spring because his own overgrowth. This is not a very good job, but it's a good job because this guy, look, there is no stump. He did the stump right on the trunk. Not a good idea, but it works. Looks 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 per tree, new shoots. This work is a little bit better. You can see 1, 2, 3, another right there behind. And look, girdlet, not girdlet, and not girdlet, the one behind. The pink paint is the mark to do the girdle, okay? Another example, just 2 new shoots. One was girdled, this wasn't. This avocado orchard is a real case, was rejuvenated from a severe drought, okay? The orchard is almost 12 years old, 12 years old. The density is about 1,000 trees per hectare, and the orchard size is 12 hectares, 24, 25 acres. Okay? What happened? The orchard is located in a high-risk drought zone. And in spring of 2014, the water balance, that means the water irrigation available versus area to irrigate, showed a big lack of water. So we could not be able to irrigate the whole orchard. We already knew very before the spring, okay? So we decided to stump all the blocks that we were not going to be able to irrigate that season. It was not a hard decision because the orchard had a little overcrowded problem. So it's not very tough to decide. This is the orchard. Okay? And this picture is from July 2014. And in that month, we already knew that we are not going to have enough water. So all the trees were trunk injected with potassium phosphonate, waiting to be stamped in the 3 months after, in the spring, very early in the spring. These blocks were harvested, and right after harvest, all the trees were stamped like this. You see? We only left that block and that block to have some fruit in 2015. But even these blocks were irrigated with very, very trouble. Okay? This is how the orchard looks in August of 2015, just about a year after the stampede. And look, go back, stampede, new trees. Just a year after, okay? Or 10 months. After 10 months, we had all the plants stamped, rejuvenated, and girdled in autumn of that year. So we have very good crop in the stamped blocks, and the owner decided, because he saw, hey, we have plenty of fruit in this block. All right, let's stamp it the other blocks. We stamped this one, and in these blocks, we did the alternate line pruning, something that Felipe, we are going to speak with more details in the next presentation. This is the last picture in past March. The blocks that were stamped in the first time show a very big crop, more than 10 tons per hectare. It's a very, very good crop. And the fruit is mainly concentrated in the gilded branches, but also in not gilded branches. And that's why, because we do the stump very early in the spring. So we got flowers even in branches who wasn't girdled. That is very interesting. Okay, this is the stump summary. Please read it at home because of the time. It's only a step-by-step recommendation. And here, the last 2 points are very important. Remember, when we do the stump very early in the spring, in the next autumn, we do the girdling over 50 or 70% of the mother shoot. That means 2 should girdle from 3 in total, or 3 from 4, or 3-4 from 5. Okay? And this is very important. You have to apply by foliar spray or trunk injection potassium phosphate or potassium phosphonate before, at least 30 days before you do the stump. Okay? Why 30 days before? Because that time takes the phosphonate and go up to the leaf, and they go down to the roots. So in 30 days, we make sure that all the phosphonate are concentrated in the roots. And then we do the stump. Okay? Okay, finally, general conclusion. Trees' chronological age is inevitable, but productively we can keep our trees very young. it is possible to have old branches in young trees, and also it is possible to have young branches in old trees, okay? What is the key? The key is we need to keep healthy and vigorous trees under a good phytosanitary program based on potassium phosphonate plus a pruning branch renewal program, okay? If we keep this program, it is possible to bear fruit always over young branches, and no matter the age of the tree, okay? And I think this is. Thank you very much. Yeah, the girdling is a cut that we make in the bark of the branches.
You go all the way around?
Yeah, all the way around in a circle cut,
Yeah.
okay? We cut the phloem. You know the phloem? The phloem are the pipes that go down to the roots with the carbohydrate and hormone and all that stuff, okay? When we cut the phloem, all the carbohydrates concentrate on the leaves and in the buds. So the flower induction improves. So we got more flower in the next spring. The girdle have to be done in autumn. It will be October, I think, right? October, November here is our April and May. You never gild the 100% of the canopy because you need, or your root system need to be fed by the carbohydrate.
Right.
So you need to leave 1 or 2 branches so the roots need to eat, you know, the root need to eat, yeah. What we do in Chile when we had a off orchard or off block, the pruning we do it in summer, not early in the spring, because we are going to have flower because the tree doesn't have fruit, right? Okay, so the next flower is for sure. So the prune we move to the summer, okay? The same pruning, okay? But not in the spring, in the summer, to remove some, it sounds bad, but we look for remove the excess of flower, okay? Doing the pruning in the summer, okay? Okay. We always recommend do the cut just behind the wound to remove the wound. Yeah.
Even if it's not going to be 25 inches?
No, even no. You saw in the picture, that guy stomped right on the trunk. Mm-hmm. It's not as good as we like, but it works. Mm-hmm. We don't do that because when you apply the phosphonate through irrigation system, the Phytophthora receives the phosphonate directly, not through the plant, right? So you will create resistance on the fungus, okay? So you need and you must apply the phosphonate through the plant in foliar application, trunk injection, air application, painting, whatever you want, but through the plant, not directly on the fungus, because the resistance is a very big problem. Okay. Yeah, Because, yeah, it's a good question. Because we need to ensure that the new shoots will burst very vigorous. So the phosphonate improves the root growth, okay? And it's like a, I don't know in English, but it's a multi-stamina, it's like a, yeah, multivitamin, right, for the tree, okay? So the tree gets stronger when you apply phosphonate. So we make sure that the next new shoot will burst very quick and very healthy, okay? I know that phosphonate is a big topic to talk, and you need to make a whole new seminar about the phosphonate. Today, Felipe and me, we are only mentioning it, but it's a very interesting thing to talk about, okay? When we do the stump, the irrigation is suspended for at least 3 or 4 or 5 months because the plant doesn't need water because don't have leaves, okay? But when we do the pruning, remember that we are producing fruit in the other half or 2/3 of the canopy. And that fruit needs to be fed and irrigated, okay? So yes, we do the fertilizing very high.